Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're diving into the 10-star against Alba for this month's Kizuna Clash, and I gotta say, this month is an absolute doozy. This is just a lot to handle, man. A lot to handle for the New Year's Super Bowls. Remember last year when we were doing disgusting amounts of damage? Yeah, well, hang on to your panties, ladies and gentlemen, because that's not happening this year. There's a lot to deal with, but in today's video, we're going to be breaking down each individual variation and giving you guys a couple of one-team versus alls if you guys did some summons on the Kizuna banner. Now, I'm going into the assumption that if you've summoned on the Kizuna banner, you've picked up the 3 new Super Sugos, because you should not be summoning on this Kizuna banner if you don't have all of the legends. Honestly, the legends are going to get you way further moving forward. This Kizuna is going to be great, but like, you really want to make sure you have the legends. Like, the legends are the characters that you want for your account. So, hopefully you guys are spending your gems over there. But in today's video, like I said, I'm going to go through a couple of one-team versus all for you guys. That'll help you guys take down the event for the 10-star with Marco and Franky. The first team's going to use all the batch, so all 3 of them. Well, 2 of them with the friend captain. And then the next one's going to be with Marco and then with Franky. Hopefully it guys helps you guys out. If it does, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do that good stuff for me. Hit the bell notification too, because there's going to be a butt ton of content coming out with this particular 10-star. I will be putting together a couple of teams that don't use any of the batch, any of the New Year's Legends, using one of the New Year's Legends, all that kind of stuff, different combinations for you guys. And then obviously, this being a Super Boss 2, we're going to have those videos too. But let's take a look at the actual piece of content. Let's see what it actually does. The 10-star against quick fighters, cerebrals, and strikers get all the good stuff. Get 150k death damage. There's attack down. There's increased damage taken. There's threshold. You have to worry about some stun, and then all orbs being unfavorable. Some defense up, some despair, some damage reduction. But basically, with Marco and Franky, like, they can take care of most of this stuff. And obviously, with Zora Sanji and all those characters, you can do some pretty fun stuff there. Against strength, you have to deal with some bind. There's some resilience as well, which you have to sort of take into consideration. All orbs will get turned into strength if you do some orb swapping shenanigans, which works great for Roger and Odin. The final stage will have defense down and increased damage taken. Well, immunity to everything but those 2. There's defense up, there's despair, there's slot bind. Reduce some intimidation against slot boosting effects and conditional boosts. They really don't want you to do conditional boosts in this particular piece of content. And then on the final stage, there's going to be a slot multiplier debuff. There's resilience, normal attacks only as always, and then an attack down if you blow a 3.5 times chain boundary. But if you guys want to check out this sort of stuff, head over to the Twitter. All this information is there if you guys want to give it a read. But the infographic, it's pretty hard to decipher this time. I don't like that they added more to it. I think a little bit more clarity, like what the Japanese version has, is definitely the wave. So hopefully the global team starts to look at that and actually take notes from over there on the Japanese side of the game. But let's take a look at the teams. And the first team utilizes both the Marco and the Franky with a friend captain Marco. Now, Marco has the boosted captain ability, so you're going to want to bring a friend captain Marco. Something you're also going to want to know too, if you guys have Marco, can you guys make sure that you max, at least put level 2 slot bind on your Marcos? And if you can, to help out the homies, make sure you max the Enrage, because there's going to be a very annoying Enrage ability too. So having Marco rainbowed as a friend captain is going to help with both of those limit break abilities, so don't stress too much. But as a captain, he gets a buffed captain ability, and his special is going to give you an increased damage taken to defense down or increased damage taken for 3 turns. He also removes damage reduction and threshold by 6 turns, and then gives you a 90% damage reduction, as well as giving you an orb boost for 2 turns. So running 2 Marcos means that you can always use a Marco on turn 2 and have one ready for turn 3. That's just going to work really, really nicely. On stage 2, there is going to be some attack down that you guys have to get around, so 5 turns of it. For my team, I've thrown on a whole bunch of supports. We've literally just gone to the wazoo with all of the supports here. The 2 turns with K-Dad, 2 turns with Tashigi, 1 turn with Whitey Bay. It all works out really, really nicely. You can use Yamato if you want to as well. That's another actually shout that I probably should have included. If you guys have all of the New Year's units as well, you could use this Yamato here, and then you could use something like the Luffy support from Treasure Map. It's a really, really good option. There's also some ships that can get around 1 turn of attack down too. So you have a lot of array of attack down options when it comes to these particular teams. So it works out quite nicely. But for this team, Marco is going to take care of stage 2 pretty much every single time. He gets around the threshold, he gets around damage reduction, he is going to get around he's going to give you defense, like damage reduction. He's going to remove damage reduction. So he can do a lot of stuff for stage 2 of the quick and the dex one. For the strength variation though, this is where Franky comes in. Franky's going to take care of pretty much all of that with the bind removal. He's going to give you end of turn damage to get around resilience, and he can give you the carryover effect for the defense down, so that way you don't have to worry about stuff like interrupts. With the 2 of them, you're going to have an orb boost for the final stage, and take care of stage 2, as well as have that conditional boost. The rest of the team is filled out by the New Year's Legend. Zoro Sanji is so good, because they can remove the defense up and the threshold on the final stage. Running 2 Marcos means you can take care of that threshold as well, but getting around the defense up with Zoro Sanji works exceptionally well. Franky, another upside of Franky is that he removes this stun, which is super nice. You guys don't have the Franky though. You guys will see how I replace that at the back end of this video. But Zoro Sanji, they're going to be your massive chain shenanigans with all of the stuff that they provide with the chain boost and the chain multiplicative. With this team, you don't have access to their Super EX, unfortunately, because Marco's not a part of it, and you need 3 characters, which kind of sucks. But you should have access to the final tap of Yamato being Franky, Zoro Sanji, and Odin, so that should work out pretty nicely for you there. You can bring the waifus over Yamato like you guys saw I had initially. If you guys don't have those attack down removing supports, you can easily just use the waifus or anyone else that can remove attack down and give you some sort of color affinity. That's going to work out quite nicely. But this is the team that's going to give you the most drops, the most tickets. It's going to be the most fun. So if you guys got lucky enough to pull both the Marco and the Franky, you can build something like this. However, if you missed out on the Franky, it can get a little bit challenging because Franky does a lot. Like, he removes binds, he gives you end of turn damage to get around resilience, he can remove the stun, which is very, very handy as well. But if you guys don't have him, don't stress, because as long as you have Zoro Sanji and then Rodin, you can still do some fun stuff. Like, it's so weird to say that Yamato just really didn't get too much love this particular New Year's. Like, on paper, she seems like the Robin of the batch. Like, I feel like for Super Boss, she's just going to be on every single team because she's going to do so much damage. But, like, the usability of Roger and Odin and Zoro Sanji are just through the roof. Like, it's through the roof. But if you have Marco, like I said, if you run double Marco, you are going to take care of stage 2 and then take care of stage 3. To help out with the stun, we had the putting support on Zoro Sanji. And then to get around the bind, I'm using Ace and Luffy. Ace and Luffy can help trigger the Super EX as well, but unfortunately with this team, you can't actually get it. Which isn't a problem because if you rotate orbs on that turn anyway, you're going to get a full bottle of Wano orbs regardless, so that's always a lot of fun. Utilizing Brook can get around resilience. He's also a color affinity booster for the final stage as well for strength, dex, and quick. He does get boosted on every variation because he's a free spirit slasher, and then he's a quick unit, so that's always fun. He's very, very, very good. He's just a fantastic unit. Plus, you get one orbs at the start of the fight with him on your bottom row, so you can use that to your advantage. But utilizing Zoro Sanji as well is going to allow you to get a full body tandem slots. So, Josu supports K-Dad, and that Whitey Bay again gets around the attack down. If you have Pedro, you can use Pedro on Brook. That's another really good option. But this particular team, it's going to work if you guys are missing the Franky, because Franky doesn't have a boosted captain ability. I wouldn't run him as a Frank captain. You just want to run that double Marco situation. However, if you just pulled Franky, you can have the luxury of bringing a Frank Captain Marco. Now, taking care of stage 2 for the quick variation and the dex variation is going to be a little bit different because you don't have that second Marco, but you can just use the Franky to take care of the stage 2 of the strength variation. He's great because he removes the binds, he gives you the end of turn damage and all that fun stuff, and then you can use him once again to get around the stun on the other interrupt or on the other variations as well. On stage 2 of the dex variation, it doesn't change all that much though. You can just use the special of Marco to get around the damage reduction that way. But just like all of these teams, be very, very careful of that burn, because that burn could catch up with you. However, we have the waifus to heal back up from that 95% HP cut. You can use the Brook support on the quick variation to give yourself damage reduction, so you don't have to worry about the death damage. And then you can use the Kazuna Whitebeard to actually get around the attack down and the threshold, which works very, very nicely. If you guys don't have this Kazuna Whitebeard, you can just use like another threshold remover, but you're going to try and want to find an attack down removing support, or if you have a ship that does attack down removing, that's going to work out really, really nicely. Franky's going to be your he's going to set defense to 0 and stuff like that, but like, don't worry about that. He's really just there for the stun, getting around resilience, getting around bind, those types of shenaniganries. Plus, he does trigger the Super Tandem for Zoro Sanji, but unfortunately, because you don't have a Yamato on this team, you can't actually get access to that. But look, unfortunately, it is what it is. You can maybe find a Yamato, actually, that works instead of Whitebeard. Like, that could work, and then you could use the Luffy support for 1 turn of attack down. Like, you could do stuff like that. Does this other Yamato actually... Let's just check for a second. There might be a Yamato that... I want to check this one. Does she remove Threshold? Nah, she removes Paralysis and Bind. I don't know what's going on with my Twonce as well, but look, at the end of the day, this team's definitely going to work. Just bring a friend Captain Marco, and you're going to be absolutely hunky-dory. You have the color affinity of the waifus as well, and remember Zoro and Sanji turning everyone into free spirits, so that's going to work out very, very nicely. But that's going to wrap up the video. If you guys did pull the new batch, if you guys got lucky enough and pulled some of these characters, hopefully these teams help you guys out. But if you guys haven't pulled this batch, please go over to the news banners and make sure you walk away with all the legends first, especially something like Roger Noda and Zoro Sanji, because as you can see, they're very, very good for this month's 10-star event. But if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.